Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our fifth racing weekend of the Herd Winter Racing Series. This weekend, we have a single lap of the Whole Lotta Lava route in Watopia, which is essentially let's go to the volcano and climb it and go down it, and then all will be well. Tonight, I am joined by Brent Robinson and Craig Martin. Brent, who are you following?
I will be following Eric Sedgwick. Eric is a B-level racer with the Herd Group. We've raced a few times in bullseyes and stuff like that, so we'll be super curious to see how he gets on.
And I am following Recovery de Freitas, also known as Matt, on yet another of his wide-ranging recovery rides. Looking for Matt to go well this evening. Craig, who are you following? I think you've got Carrie, haven't you?
So I was working on trying to have Carrie, but I can't find her right now. So right now, no.
She was definitely in the pen because she was welcoming everyone in there. So hopefully we'll see Carrie before too long. So we are out the pens, turning out the Watopia Pier pens. We're turning left up the hill towards Volcano. It's a sort of 2 to 3% incline. Can stretch the field a little bit here, but it's looking relatively comfortable. I was saying relatively comfortable because Matt was doing about 3.8, but now he's doing 5.2. Brent and I have the luxury of having done this earlier on, and I think, Brent, our start was a little bit more friendly with this one.
Yeah, it looks a little bit, I'd say, like that. Eric's had to put in a big push up that 3%, but then he was able to come back down. But it did look like they came up pretty hot, and he's stuck in the front group, but it did string out a bit.
Yeah, this one's looking, well, I can see massive gaps. So this front group is not that big. Can't quite see how many. I think it's probably like 15, 20. Whereas I think at this stage in our race, it's probably about half the field. But yeah, Matt going well.
Yeah, Eric's sitting right at the back, and he's in like 25th, and
Yeah.
he's right at the back of that front group.
So from here, we're going to do a little bit of a circuit of the volcano, and then we'll head over the volcano circuit banner, do 2/3 of the volcano circuit lap, and then we'll head up the volcano, down the volcano, and then we'll do the final third of the volcano circuit lap to the finish. What we do have, other than the volcano climb, is 2 of the ramps going into the volcano, and so that's about 5%, but generally a bit of a breaking point twice in this race. So if you do manage to hang on to the front group over the top of the volcano, or you manage to hang on to any group over the top of the volcano, that ramp generally will stretch things out as well. But Matt looking pretty comfortable at the moment, holding about 3.8 watts per kilo. We are 2.5 kilometers into this race, and we have plenty to come yet. The lead-in is around about, I think 4.9 kilometers. The climb will start at about 7.5, so expect some fireworks then.
Craig, it looks like you probably found Carrie.
I did find Carrie. So she was sitting in 40th, now in 41st. I think she hung on to the front group almost a little bit too long. So she's got a group of 4, 3 seconds back, coming up fairly quick. So I think she's going to be. Hopefully, she's able to hook onto that group. So there was a single rider that's now 8 seconds ahead that went by her. So that's she's hopefully she settles into a group for the climb here, and they've caught right now. She's putting in a little dig. And yeah, it looks like she's hung on, and she's hung on with actually Baz. And who's that from? There's somebody from the Coyotes and Destriers. I'm not sure who that is, as the name scrolls around. So that's yeah, they're in a group of I guess that's 41st through 45th or so.
Good work, Carrie. So looking at Max, in the group with Eric. I've seen Bobby Edwards in there as well. Got a bunch of ATP riders. They love this late slot of a Friday. Although for them it's not actually particularly late. But we've got I can see, I think, 5 herd jerseys in there. Just having a quick look through the leaderboard to see if I can see anyone else. Bruce Bortoff's in there.
I think Alan Bray is probably in there.
Yeah. So nice group of 25.
And it looks like they're going a relatively manageable pace too. Like he's in mid 200s, sort of low 3s. So
What are they are going mental up this hill. There are 10s all over the place.
Just as I say that.
It was looking all very manageable until we hit the ramp into the volcano, and it's gone a bit crazy. I'm pretty certain this is all going to come back based on my earlier experience of being in the front group that was split into 2. I was in the second part of that group, and it all came back together about a kilometre after the banner, which we are just coming into. So if Matt just needs to hang on to a few wheels, and this is all going to come back together again.
Eric's on the back, so he's going to have to give it a push.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is split quite significantly. There's definitely a bit of a gap behind Matt and Alan. I think it's Alan Chan from OTR, and I think it's Ryan Owang out of ATP. They should all get onto this train that's just in front of Matt. Matt's pushing 5 watts kilo to try and get back on again, but this happened in the early race as well, and I think it's probably going to come back together. However, there is quite a bit of a gap behind. So,
I think Eric's off. Eric's fallen off the group. I think he's not going to catch back on now.
Yeah, I'm not sure Matt is either. Actually, that front group have gone off really, really hard. It's pretty strung out behind. So Matt is 4 seconds off the back at the moment. This could be a meaningful split, actually. They've definitely gone further off the front than I thought they were going to. And yeah, I think that's now settled for this being the group he's going to ride with. And one of the comments is gassy ATP. they have definitely tried to make the split, and it's definitely worked out. So we've now got a front group of 14. Matt De Freitas is currently 15th wheel.
It looks like 3-4 groups on the road, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Could well see some of those guys from the front once we do hit the volcano and the climbing starts. That this very, very fast start might be a bit too much, but we will certainly see. Craig, how's Carrie getting on?
So Carrie's just a little bit off the back of that group she was with. So I say that there's still one of those that one of the group is with her. So there's they've kind of split into 3 and 2, but it's only at most a 1 second gap. It does look like something that's going to come back together. Well, hard to say because one of the riders in the front there is Baz, and if that's the Baz I think it is, yeah, he has the potential to go away quickly at any point. But no, we'll see what happens.
When you say the Baz you think it is, do you think it's Barry Nixon?
I thought it was, but maybe it's not.
I think it's way too late for Barry Nixon to be racing. If I'm wrong, I'd be quite surprised if he is where he is, But yeah, could well be. We may never find out.
We may never. It is a Baz with herd, and with a Union Jack. So that's all I've got.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking. Barry is, I think, right at the pointy end of a ranking. So I'd be quite surprised if he wasn't at the very, very pointy end of this race. But we'll certainly find out. Back to the Matt DeFreitas group. He's with Bobby Edwards and Bruce Bottoff from the herd, and they are, I think, actually just hitting the start of Volcano. I was going to say that they're about to hit the start of Volcano. I think they've actually just gone past the banner. And Matt DeFreitas has done what Matt DeFreitas does. He's gone for a kick, and he's going for a breakaway. Obviously, we have never ever seen Matt DeFreitas go for a breakaway, and he's definitely never told us that he's going for a breakaway. Has he, Brent?
Isn't that all the Matt DeFreitas stories? Although I think technically this is a chase. He's got riders up the road. So
yeah, I think so.
This would be a solo bridge attempt if we wanted to use the full terminology, I believe, and it is very much a Matt thing.
To be fair, I think there are actually two Matt DeFreitas stories. One of them is the absolutely incredible breakaway he did in Surrey Hills, and the second one is Mom.
That was one of the most enjoyable races. There was just a lot going on, but the mom, and I still don't know what the hammer was for, but I might not want to know.
Yeah, probably not. Matt is still kicking along at 5.5 watts a kilo. He's got an M SWAT from R. I think that's an American flag. Yeah, it must be because there's a bunch of others. Wasn't sure it was American or Malaysian. But they are only. There's a couple of stragglers in front group. Front group is about 20 seconds in front. There's a couple at 13 seconds in front of Matt, and he's still kicking really, really hard. I suspect this is going to be a sub 7 minute climb for Matt DeFreitas. Having done a 7 minute 20 earlier, Matt is pushing down the numbers, and it's looking good. Why he's wearing? I suspect he thinks they're probably red socks, but with they do look a bit orange, with an orange wheel and a red hat. Obviously, completely approve of a red hat, but I'm not sure about the sock choice.
Eric has unfortunately found himself in no man's land. He's 20 seconds behind a group in front of about 4 or 5, and then there's one guy 15 seconds behind him, but he's been putting time into the rider behind him. So, he's trying his best to probably try and close down and maybe pick up somebody who gets chucked off the back of the group in front of him as he goes along. But he's having a good climb. He's pedaling hard.
Just to quickly jump in, Zwift Power Live from one of our YouTube watchers and listeners, Sean Fogenberg, says it is actually Barry Nixon. So maybe Barry's joining us for a bit of a Matt DeFreitas style recovery ride. Although Matt DeFreitas style recovery rides generally mean VO2 to the finish. But we'll see how Barry gets on. Matt DeFreitas doing an absolutely stellar job. He's pulling in Max Szymanski out of the OTR, only a 6-second gap. Still pushing very hard at best part of 5 watts a kilo. Matthew, what are you doing? Are you trying to kill yourself? I have no idea. How about Carrie, Craig?
So Carrie is in with EW. I'm not actually sure who EW is. I'm doing some attempting to cross-reference as we speak, but so she's in a group of 2. Baz and the others have have gone. Actually, Baz has completely disappeared. I'm wondering whether he was deliberately going zone 1, zone 2 to the base of the climb and putting in a segment effort. But yeah, he's gone. So yeah, she's doing well, and the two of them are working together.
So in the Matt Freitas group, so Max is now only 3 seconds in front of Matt's M SWAT out of our R plus. Is actually now a second in front, looking like we're going to very shortly have a group of 4, with not too much longer on this volcano climb. Not sure if Matt Shemansky is going to hang on to this group, but Matt is definitely approaching rapidly and still holding good numbers. Just on flatter part, just kicking up again. Matt's done over 4.5 to 5 for most of his climb, so it's been a stellar effort. And he can see like 3 riders just in front. If he can get onto those guys by the top of a climb, that's going to be massively beneficial. Brent, how about Bruin?
Eric is he's good. He's pretty much dusted the guy behind him, and one guy got broken off the group in front by the looks of it, and Eric is putting time into him. He's closed the gap from 20 down to 10 seconds here, so he's got a pretty good chance to close down a spot and move up here on the climb. You can see the rider in front of him now, so that always mentally really helps. They get right to the peak. I think they must be getting real close to the end of the climb to be really putting that big effort in and closing this rider down and having one more spot, because another one off the front has broken off the back of that group too. So there's points on the table to be had for Eric if he keeps up this strong effort.
Matt's just throwing in the feather to try and get onto this group, and it's definitely closing in. Only a second now. As we just hit the steepest part of this climb, where it will ramp up to 10%, and Matt is pushing really, really, really hard to try and get on. He's caught up with John Moore out of ATP, and got a couple guys just in front. He's not quite going to be able to catch on to by the banner, but it's been a really, really, really good climb. Matt coming over the line now. 7 minutes 9. That's a fantastic climb.
That's great.
Especially like almost all solo. Like really, he had a group at the start, but he was off the front of it.
Mm-hmm. Brett, what was your time tonight?
6:52.
Yeah, there we go.
But I was in a group until we got to the very top kicker. We had 11 riders, right? It's a different ball game. I wasn't pushing those guys up the hill. I was just holding on.
So Matt is trying to hang on to John Moore's wheel. Throwing out the truck. Is he close enough to make use of the truck? Oh, not sure. Come on, Matt. And we're on to the downhill. How's Eric doing?
He's good. He's past that rider, and now that rider is caught onto his wheel and is trying to ride with him. So he's got now someone to ride with, and he's closing time into that. One other rider got dusted off the group, so they've closed from 20 to 13 seconds now on that guy. So he's doing good. He's just up to that, not quite in the 10% section to the banner, but that 4 or 5% right before that. He's pedaling hard. He's and yeah, they've closed 3 more seconds on that guy in front of him just here since I started talking. So it looks like he's going to move up 2 more places here. Oh, he's got a feather, so he's definitely going to catch, I think, this guy in front of him as he comes through the banner. He's putting time on like 1 second every word I say. So he's really hammering it to get back up here. He's had a really, really great climb. I'll be super curious what his time is as he comes through here. Just 1 second. Here he comes. Nice finish. And through the banner is an 8:29, which is a good time for him. Well done.
That's a great time. So Kerry has dropped EB and is going solo. She's definitely pushing really good watts for her, and is sitting in 41st now, and just passed somebody else to go up into 41st, and it has 10 seconds on our initial hurdling there, and so she's still got a little bit to go on the climb. I think kind of about a half circle around the or a quarter circle around the volcano, but doing very well, and she's got another rider about 12, 13 seconds ahead, but it doesn't look like she's likely to make that bridge.
So coming back to Matt, he's sadly lost his group, and they are about 12 seconds in front. Actually, John Moore's 6 seconds. Rest of the group is about 12, 13. Gap behind is about 20 seconds. So Matt is currently in 15th place. I would be very, very surprised if he does not finish in 15th place, unless the group behind can catch up quickly, which I wouldn't expect them to do so with only a relatively short amount of time left in the race. So Matt is soloing. How's Eric doing? Has he got any company?
No, he's still chasing the one rider who he was going on when they hit the flats. The gap kind of evened out at about 7 seconds, so he's chasing him down, and he's put, I don't know, we're getting all the lap numbers here, so I can't see. They're 9 seconds on the rider behind him, so he's a little bit solo, but I think he's got a crack at the one in front of him. It'll be a good battle here if he can, catch his breath, but maybe keep some pressure on the pedals, and then, hit. When you're doing this descent, for me, it's always about like staying steady on it, and then when you get the little rises, like really trying to keep your momentum and blasting through so you can get up over the top of those. I think that's the fastest way down, especially with my terrible lack of super tuck.
I think when I did this earlier, I just tried to hold about sort of like 220, 230 the whole way down. I didn't trust the super tucking because it only seemed to last a fairly short amount of time, and then kicking on the ramps. That worked fairly well to stay with the group, but I think if you're solo, once you start going downhill, that's game over.
Yeah. So James, I'll say I have caught people on the way down before, but it involves basically an all-out sprint on every one of the little up bits, and it was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. And this is like after like an all-effort power up the volcano as well. So yeah, I wouldn't want to sprint down it.
Well, no, it's just a sprint on. So every time it kicks up, if you absolutely hammer those spots and you keep going over the top until you hit super tuck speed, and then repeat the next time it kicks up on those few little rolly bits, you can gain actually quite a number of seconds on people through there if you're taking that technique.
So Matt De Freitas has 12 seconds to John Moore in front and 14 seconds to the group behind with Bruce Bortoff and Bobby Edwards, Alan Chan, Ryan Wang. I think he's okay. He's going to finish in 15th. I would put money on it, and if I were to lose that bet, I'd get Matt to subsidise me. How about Eric?
He's the rider in front of him has now pushed it back to 10 seconds on that gap. They started definitely pedaling a little harder as they got towards the bottom of the hill. So, they saw him coming and picked it up, and he hasn't been able to close that. But he's pushed off the guy behind him back to 20 seconds. So he'll probably be finishing here in about 28th spot, which is a good result for Eric. No shames at that, but we'll see if he can't squeeze a little more, and depending on if this guy in front of him breaks, if he can maybe sneak away with 10 seconds, and this last kind of kilometer is an awful tough ask.
Yeah, so Kerry's about to hit the top of the volcano, and we'll just see. So that last rider she passed has managed to get past her. So her time was 11:30. So good climb for Carrie, and she's working. She's trying to get back on to that rider, so she'll have somebody, or maybe she's just going to go straight over the top.
Matt's
And,
just coming over the line now in 15th place. Well done, Matt.
well done. It's a solid result.
That is why I live in fear of the breakaway on the volcano ramp, though. That is exactly the scenario I dread every time. That's why I always go to the front on this ramp. I know I'm giving away trade secrets or whatever, but there's nothing I hate more than coming across the top of that thing and watching the group go away and just, like, I always find the back never works. And then you're just...
He was so close as well. He was like probably 5 meters behind John Moore, who eventually finished like 12 seconds in front. And so close to the rest of the group. Like, I've had this in ZRL season, I think 2, when I was racing in C. I was literally 2 seconds off the front group at the top of the Yorkshire Con. Missed the group, and then there's a big group behind me that just flew past me on the way down. It's so hard to bear.
Yeah, I had it. I don't remember which seasons that are, but the Richmond maybe cobble climbs or something like that. And coming across the top and just being like a hair off the back and had nothing left after the climb and just watching the group pedal away and you're like just done. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
That sucks. All right, Eric is just inside the volcano. Coming up to the little kick before the end ramp. He's in 28th, though. The other guy in front of him has just finished. So he's almost certain to finish in 28th. There he goes at 26:40. Good finish. Yep.
Yeah, good result from Eric.
Yeah, I think he should be happy with that. He caught people in the climb. Like, can't complain about that.
No, definitely not.
So Carrie is on her way down. So she caught that person that had just that had overtaken her just before the summit. So she's back into 41st place. Is just going through the down into the bridge across through the volcano, and yeah, she's stuck in 41st place, and now has an 11-second lead on that A Navia, who had gone by her, and a 28-second lead on EW, who she had been riding with for much of the climb.
I think we do need to refer to the blue wheels, and obviously Carrie's not Dutch, but why would you not get pink? Because obviously the Pink Tron is the fastest of all Trons unless you're Dutch, so it's very, very hard to understand the selection of the blue wheel.
So I would have to say that the blue wheel in this case is to match the herd kit, along with those very well matched green socks.
Agreed. I do like my green socks personally. My green banana socks, they go very, very nice with the herd green. And my yellow Mavics are just beautiful. They go very nicely with my real life yellow shoes as well.
I gotta say, when you do this climb, do you guys like? I mean, number one on this climb, it's super drafty. So number one, stay with the group is the whole thing. But when it hits the little like flat rolly bits, I always also like to like move up into the group, like put a little punch on, and then as you hit the downhill or the flat bit, let the other people come past you in the draft because the speed picks up. I think there's a little bit of watts to be saved doing that too. If you're in a draft, if you're on your own, you're probably just TT basically.
So when I did it earlier, I kicked fairly hard early on, and then realised that I was with this group until the top. So I basically put myself in the middle, and I might have had a little bit more, probably not much. But when we hit the bridge in the middle, I basically went to back wheel and recovered as much as I could, so that I could kick again when the climb started.
I just find for me, even like you're gonna do a close to max 5 minute, 7 minute effort for
Mhm.
our speed. If you're, some slower people 8, 9 minute effort, but even having that like 2, 3 seconds on some of those flatter downhill bits where you can stay in the group, take a breath, you know, slow down your pedal stroke for just those 2 seconds while you're sitting in the draft on the flat bits, just allows me to just squeeze out a little more when I need it.
Yeah, no. So I went from what's pretty much the front of a group on the climb, or front of the second group on the climb, to being back wheel going through the volcano just to give me a bit of respite, and then kicking again on the last section. And I think that worked relatively well. But I also didn't want to get in front of a group because I knew if I did, and they all flew past me, I wouldn't have anything left.
So Kerry is at the bottom and has so the lead over Navia is down to 7 seconds, and the lead over EW and Jeff Aldrich and a group of three back there is down to 13 seconds. So this has suddenly gotten interesting. So Kerry definitely say struggles with the downhills, but so we'll see if she's able to keep things up through the kicker and to the finish. She's got 7 seconds now.
I think she's good.
I hope so. She's pushed up over 4 watts a kilogram up the kicker. We'll see if Navia matches when he hits there. He's not. So I think she's probably good. It is down to 5 seconds. She's got to power through the top of this kicker to get her speed up right away in order to stay away. This is getting pretty tight. It's getting tight between Navia and the group behind as well. Is that's only about another 6 seconds. It's about 6 seconds either way now.
Come on,
Gotta go
Carrie.
now. Give her, give her, give her.
So I mean, she's pushing right around FTP, a little over, and doing really well. Down to 4 seconds. Gotta push on this last kicker. Go, go, go.
Come on,
3
Gary.
seconds. Come on, Carrie. Come on. Oh, this is going to be close. This is going to be close. Oh, there we go. 5 over 5. And Carrie does get it for 41st. Well done.
Well done, Carrie. So with Carrie's finishing, that brings us to the end of our live commentary stream. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage tonight. Big thanks, as ever, to Craig for supplying the video and audio. And a big thanks to Brent and Craig again for joining me in the commentary. And we hope you will join us again next week. So big thanks from me and good night.
Good night.
Night.